Presto. Hello, YouTube. This computer's going back and forth like this, and I realize it's Ben. Okay, so
I'm messing with the chat.
solving absolute value equations. Yesterday we did these, right? And all of you found it was pretty easy, right? Pretty straightforward. They're actually fun to do, right? Especially if you write them down and write both equations down. Gideon? Okay? So, but there was something that I did. I gave you simplified ones, and I just want to look at a simple one and then look at a complicated one and compare them, okay? So I gave you something like this. The absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to 4, right? And we said, well, the two possibilities, we could have the absolute value of positive 4 would equal 4, and the absolute value of negative 4 would equal 4. Therefore, we could say x plus 2 equals 4, or not or, but we could say or and x plus 2 equals negative 4, right? Because we know that could be a negative 4, because the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So we know those are the two equations we could write. But what if I gave you something like this? Let's say we had the absolute value of x plus 4, minus 1 equals 7.
Wouldn't the minus 1 go in the absolute value portion?
No.
Ooh, that's a good question. Do you guys see that minus 1? Does that sort of make it throws a big question mark in your brain, doesn't it? Don't you just wonder, well, how do we deal with that? Well, what typically I see people try to do, even after I teach it, and I don't understand why after I teach it, because it's so obvious once I teach it. But what I often see people do is this. They just get rid of the absolute value. So they say x plus 4 minus 1 equals 7, and then they write x plus 4 minus 1 equals negative 7. But wait a minute. That's not the concept of what we did over here. What we did over here is we had this isolated. What does it mean when I say isolated? So Tia. Yeah, so this absolute value stuff is completely isolated, meaning it's followed immediately by what?
Equals.
It's an absolute value of something equals, right? It's not absolute value minus 1 equals, or absolute value plus 10 equals. It's absolute value equals. When it's isolated, this totally works to separate this out like this. I've got either x plus 2 could be positive 4 or x plus 2 could be negative 4, and I would definitely get a true answer, right? Over here, I can't do that. I have to isolate. Wait a minute, how far do I go again? Must isolate. Must isolate. Must isolate.
You gotta isolate.
Must isolate. Must isolate absolute value. Right? You've got to do it. You've got to isolate it. So how could I isolate it? Cassie.
Plus 1.
Plus 1. Is that what you were going to say?
No, I was gonna say x plus 3 because there's a negative minus 1 after the plus 4.
That's what he just said not to do.
So
Right. But the thing is, because that's in the absolute value, it's a good question. And that's really common. That happens a lot. But because this is in the absolute value, we don't do that. We want to move this to the other side. So Cassie's idea of adding 1 and moving it to the other side, you don't want to touch this absolute value, what's inside. You want to keep it pristinely exactly the way it is, right? But everything else you want to get rid of. You want to move it to the other side. Question, yes?
I have a question regarding the answer to this.
Okay, can you wait till I get to the answer?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're going to add 1, add 1. Now we have the absolute value of x plus 4. Oh my God, equals 8. Oh my God, that's amazing. So suddenly this is isolated. It's just the absolute value, and that's all there is. And then there's an equal sign, and there's 8. So I know inside this absolute value sign, I could have a positive 8 value or a negative 8 value. So I could say x plus 4 is equal to 8, and, or, it doesn't matter really, x plus 4 equals negative 8. Okay? You with me? And then I solve it, right? So I subtract 4, I got x is equal to 4, and then subtract 4, x is equal to negative 12. Yes. Question, Anna?
I was just gonna say, are we gonna solve it?
Oh yeah, sorry.
And
So my answer is this, and then I put the word and, or I could put the word or, I guess. Either one. And then that's my solution. Now, question about the answer.
I was going to ask if 4 was correct for the first part.
Uh-huh. You're good at the
Thanks.
first part. I wanted to know what
Yep.
you were gonna say.
I don't
About the
like
second
negatives
part.
like at all. They're so annoying.
So you're getting better at them, right? But does it make
Yeah.
sense? You can
Yeah.
do those, right?
Yeah.
You can do those. Good, awesome. Okay, so does that make sense? It's pretty straightforward. Just has to be isolated before you can do this little trick of writing the two equations. Don't write the two equations until you have isolated that absolute value.
I just had a question, like, would you, rewrite, like, if you were to rewrite the equation of -7 and then isolate the one? You
Say
couldn't
what?
Do that?
Say what?
Okay, so you can't, like, write the equation, like, okay, so on the other one, you can just rewrite the equation like x, absolute value of x plus 4, minus 1 equals 7, equals -7, and then you would add the 1 and it would be -6. That wouldn't be right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Well, actually, would it be or not? I don't know. I got to think that through.
Because then it would equal -8.
Yeah, because see, what would be happening is this would not be changing sign, and this one would, so then you would have, it would be different.
Oh, okay.
Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? Yeah, you really don't want to do that. You don't want to get rid of these absolute value signs and then say 4 minus 1 equals whatever, because then you could just make it 3, x plus 3. I mean, if we tried that, let's just see what we get. Yeah, let's say we did that. We said, we did 4 minus 1 like Ben suggested, right? Then we'd have x plus 3 is equal to 7, and x plus 3 is equal to -7. Let's see what we get. Subtract 3. Here we get x is equal to 4. Oh, that seems to work. Oh, this must always work, right? Always! And then we're going to subtract 3 from that and subtract 3 from this. We get x is equal to -10. Uh-oh. See, you see the problem? It didn't work.
It works for the first
It works
part.
for the first one, so don't use that method, because if it only works for one method, you don't want to use two different methods. You want to use one method. So that's my point. So this is wrong. We're going to erase that. Okay, so let's try a few. Let's see, I guess I can just erase everything. I need to buy new erasers or figure out a system.
Put it in peroxide maybe. Hydrogen peroxide, I mean.
I should Google it.
I bet if you put it in hydrogen peroxide,
so-
it will work wonders.
So let's say I give you, let's see, where do we have? Okay, so we'll do another one like that. So let's say we do 6x, the absolute value is 6x plus, I don't know, 10 minus 40 is equal to -20. Huh. Wait a minute, let's not do -20. Let's keep it at 20, positive 20, sorry. Oh wait, hang on a second. Wouldn't you know I do this on a video? That's okay, yes, that's okay, where I'm at is fine. So what do I have to do first, Tia? Add 40 to both sides, is that what you're gonna say, Ben?
Yeah.
You rock. Okay, beautiful. So now we have the absolute value of 6x plus 10. That's all out now, equals 60. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Now what do I do? Ben, what do I do?
You have to do 6x plus 10 equals 60, and 6x plus 10 equals negative 6c.
Okay, beautiful. And then, so I just solve it, right?
Yep.
Subtract 10, subtract 10. I've got 6x is equal to 50. X is equal to what? 25 thirds, is that what you said? Okay, right, because 50 over 6 would be 25 thirds, thank you. All right, so we got 1. And then here, we're going to subtract 10, subtract 10. So we got 6x is equal to negative 70. So now we're going to do x, we're going to divide by 6, divide by 6. X is equal to negative 35 thirds. So nice to have a calculator in the room.
Mira, how do you do that so quickly?
She's
She's
Oh.
good. She's good.
She's
All right,
already written it
so that's our answer. So we put and in there, and we circle the answer. Is it okay to have the answer in a fraction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally, a fraction is fine. Nothing wrong with a fraction. You don't have to turn it into a decimal. I have had some students will spend an extra 10 minutes dividing three, and you know what I mean? Dividing them and turning them into decimals. Why? They're the same thing. A fraction and a decimal, it's like chimpanzee and Spanish. It's like just two different languages, right? Right? Oh, I'm sorry, not chimpanzee. So Spanish and Chinese, right? They're like two different languages,
Mandarin.
right?
Mandarin.
Sorry,
Chinese.
I'm fluent in chimpanzee, so I think of it as a language. So,
That explains why you're talking gibberish.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I'm joking, Harry. Although you do talk gibberish. Oh, that hurt my foot. Oh, that hurt my foot. Oh, I'm sorry, universe. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm joking.
Here's another example.
Stop flip.
Here's another example. Let's say I did this. 2 absolute value, 2x plus 4 absolute value, minus 1 equals 25.
Ooh, I can make a guess.
All right, so, yeah, so what did I do, first of all? Just tell me, Ben, what do you notice that's different about this one?
Well, what you did was you put 2 in front of the
Yeah, see that?
absolute value, but I can
Okay.
guess what you do. You
Okay.
do distributive property to it.
Actually, that is one way you could do it. But what is the first thing you always do before you do
You have
that?
to add the one. Isolate?
Yes, isolate. Let's isolate. So let's add the 1, and suddenly I have 2 absolute value, 2x plus 4 absolute value equals 26. Okay? Now, there are 2 ways to go from here. And Ben's way is one of the ways.
You can do distributive
It's
property.
not really necessarily the easiest way. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. And the reason why is because then I would just be making my numbers bigger, right? And then it's like no big deal. I could do that. But if that's 2, next to that it means 2 times. Remember in algebra, that shortcut, if there's no operation sign, you automatically assume multiply, right? So that would be like using the distributive property. So if I did Ben's way, I'll do Ben's way, and I'm going to do my way over here, the other way, not my way, the other way.
Wow.
2 parentheses, 2x plus 4, not parentheses, absolute value, equals 26. Okay. And those can both be seen? Yes. All right. So first we'll do Ben's way, which is totally fine. It totally works. So I'm doing distributive property. So I've got 4x plus 8 equals 26. Now I am going to subtract 8, right? Everybody knows that, right? I want my x's all by themselves, so I've got then 4x
Well,
is
what
equal
about the
to,
negative?
what?
What about the negative one? No problem.
Oh yeah, good point. Shoot. Forget that.
I
Okay,
get that.
thank you, Ben. Okay, so suddenly we did their distributive property, and so now we're gonna say, 4x, where am I? 4x plus 8 is equal to negative 26. Thank you, buddy, I appreciate that. Minus 8, and then we got 4x is equal to negative 34 divided by 4, divided by 4, I've got x is equal to negative 17 halves. Beautiful. All right. Did I do something wrong? Oh.
Yeah.
Equals, what am I doing? 14? Okay. Divide by 4, divide by 4, x is equal to 7 halves, right?
Yep.
Would the equivalence to that be 4.5 and 8.5, or negative 8.5?
That's what I meant.
Because I never put my answers into fractions. I don't remember how. I always do it into decimals.
When you said
But this is so much easier.
I know. I divided.
14 divided by, what, but you did, what did you do? You divided it on longhand? Or in your head?
Long division.
Long division?
Yep.
Right. So it's okay to leave it as a fraction then.
I don't remember how. Oh, you just
But
said
it
put
is.
That our,
4x equals 14 divided by 4. You have a fraction
I
too.
got 18 over
14
4.
divided by
it's
4.
18, it's 18 divided by 4.
Ha.
Oh yeah, 18 divided by 4.
Just did it.
Sorry. Didn't you say 14?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I just took you for, I trusted you. I trusted you. I trusted you. You made me look terrible on this video. Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Okay. No, sorry. I'm kidding.
People in
I make a lot
different
of
countries
mistakes, believe
must
me.
hate you.
On the videos. It's totally fine. Mistakes are good, as long as you're not trying to send somebody to the moon, right? Right? They're okay because you're learning from
One
them.
number off.
Yeah,
One number
right?
off. Oh, dang it. I'm
Right.
like 3 light years away from the moon.
All right, so that is one way to do this, right? So let me show you the other way. Let's look at this. Instead of multiplying, this is 2 times this blob, which happens to be a absolute value thingamajigger, right? I've got 2 times something equals something. Why not just get rid of the 2? What's the opposite of multiply?
Divide.
Divide. So now I'm going to do it my other way, the way I would have done it. This is the way I would have done it. I would have just divided right away. I would have just gone like this, divide by 2, and suddenly I have 2x plus 4 equals 13. That makes sense? And then suddenly I have 2x plus 4 is equal to positive 13, or 2x plus 4 equals negative 13.
Bless you.
Negative 11.
Right? And then I subtract 4, and I have 2x is equal to 9, divide by 2, divide by 2. There's a fraction, buddy. Look how easy that was. X is equal to that fraction, 9 halves.
I just think it's easier to put it into decimals.
How can it be easier if you're done here and then you have to
It
go,
just makes more sense to me.
oh, okay, then that's okay. That's the valid answer. So
Judging
minus
my
4.
senses.
Minus 4, 2x is equal to minus 17, right? Divide by 2, divide by 2. So x is equal to negative 17 halves, right?
Same answer.
And or, I'll put or this time. I don't really care.
Do you have to
Right.
put it in all caps? The word.
What?
The word.
Where you just
Because
write
I
small caps.
noticed that when you put
Dude,
it and
look at
it's
the
or,
title.
they're all caps.
Oh.
That's just how
He just
Gary
writes in all
writes.
caps.
It is how Gary writes.
You write like my dad. You write in all caps.
If I wrote any other way, it would take hours.
Part of it is he was sad and
It would take hours. I'm terrible at lowercase letters. Terrible.
We were moving and it
All right. Fist of 5. You get this? Does it make sense? It's not hard, right? Now,
Oh, 5. Yes.
so homework tonight is going to be those, and then solving a couple equations that have fractions in them, right? When you have fractions in an equation, you get rid of them by multiplying by the lowest common denominator. Right, exactly.
These fractions.
And then there are 3 word problems, age word problems, so that you guys can practice those again,
Wait,
okay?
are these fractions?
Oh.
What?
Is that a fractions worksheet?
No, it's going to be like these, and then there are 2 problems that have fractions in them. And
Oh, I
then there's
thought
word
you
problems.
said, because you said less common denominator.